Hi, I'm Marisa, and I'm going to show you an introductory DNS exercise for low back and core based on the child at 3 to 5 months. It's more specifically going to look like this 5-month position. Okay, so baby comes out and they're like a fish out of water. There's no core stabilization. They're just all over the place. And then the central nervous system takes them through these progressions of movements. And what begins is really the diaphragm starts to be used as a postural muscle, okay? So the diaphragm descends, and instead of the rib cage flaring, it starts to kind of face the pelvic bowl, and the diaphragm and the pelvic floor start to work together. So we're gonna reestablish that. So I like to have something underneath my head, especially for clients. The older we get, we tend to have a head forward posture. So this is just putting us in as neutral of a position as we can be. So for some of us, we might want a higher towel. So as you lay down, feel the breath going all the way down if you can. Feel free to pause the video or replay it. You inhale and exhale. And you just want to feel where the breath is going. You can be more relaxed initially just to kind of let the body let go of any tension patterns. Okay, because how we come about this, it's kind of like a rebirth in a way of how we want to use our body. So we want to let go of any other typical tensions we're holding. And then you're gonna feel that, again, that breath going as far down as you can. And when I'm doing exercises, I'll even say imagine you're breathing to your feet, because that helps to connect everything up. But if you're wondering how to let it go, just as low as it feels like you can. If you can feel it kind of in your pelvic floor, if you feel it in your butt, you feel your sits bones, a little bit spreading on that inhale, that's awesome. And you want to feel it in 360 degrees. So again, take your time, but I'm just going to go through this video a little faster. So here I'm starting to add in a little engagement. Again, don't worry if you want to take your time. I'm breathing in, I can feel it, the breath going into my back. At first, it'll likely be more relaxed, but then we're going to make it active by taking one leg up and then the other in this turned out position a little bit. So the knees are not in, and we have a slight bend of our knees. And often for gentlemen, you might need to have, or anybody who has a challenge with flexibility, or you're a little stiff, you might need to bend a little bit more for this. Or imagine instead of your feet reaching up, it could be more the knees. But essentially you want the weight of your legs to be right over about here on your body. If that doesn't make sense, what I mean is, if here I'm kind of pulling on the pelvis, right? And we'll do stuff in this position, but to start, we really want it to be coming over the low belly, and that's gonna reverberate into our lumbar spine, okay? And also a little bit into sacrum. Okay, so we're gonna inhale all the way down, hold the breath, press the pelvis a little bit up, keep the butt soft, and exhale, come down. I mean, again, you're not really lifting anywhere. You're just feeling like there's a little bit of an unloading, like you're taking some of the weight off, okay? And you're just practicing here. You can use the hands. I like to use the heel of my hand to press down into the knee. Shoulders are down. And I'm just kind of trying to press my legs down more, and then my core, you'll start to feel that turn on as you press up. So when I do this with clients, of course, I'm pressing down into their feet, so they're having that feedback, and it kind of releases the tense muscles and so forth. So, and if you need to take a break, that's fine. But you're trying to feel and really get this integrated. So now, I don't know if you can see, I'm creating like a tube. So my diaphragms are facing one another. My diaphragm here and my pelvic floor, they're facing one another. And it's pretty balanced all the way around. And I have this, what's called intra-abdominal pressure, because I'm using the breath to go down, and I'm not just relaxing. I'm not just giving it out on the exhale. There's a great sense of relaxation, but it's not a sleep relaxation. It's like, oh, this is easeful. Okay, that's what you're looking for. You don't want to look for it to be like, oh, I'm really working. there's a sense of ease. So then we'll load it more. And to load it more, we're gonna take a leg down. Now, when you take the leg down, stick with one at a time. So I'm taking my right leg down. I'm keeping my knee pretty steady. In other words, I'm not flopping my knee, I'm not straightening it. I'm just isolating movement in my hip. And notice when I take this leg down, what I'm not gonna do is this. Okay, so when I do that, it's like my other leg is going with it. And I'm losing the support in my back. Okay, can you see that? I'm exaggerating a little bit, but most people do that even slightly. And you want to see if you can avoid that, okay? So feel like you're maybe holding something up. Maybe if you have kids and you've played airplane before, imagine you've got their hands and you're holding them up with this other foot, this stable foot. And then this is going down. And that visualization can really help keep everything steady. And you should feel it nice and all the way around. Okay, then you'll switch sides, okay? Kiddo is on the right foot. I usually use 2 feet, but just for imagination, just so you can kind of get the activation. Now, if your hip flexors tend to tense here, you can soften the foot. And I used to do it soft all the time because when I started this, my hip flexors were pretty much trying to do the work where my core wasn't. And so the more you breathe into it, it can help with that, but you might need to keep the foot soft, and that's fine. Baby doesn't have that problem, so you'll notice they're more flexed on their feet, okay? When that becomes easy, and you can, by the way, take a break, you can do all kinds of things with the legs. You can be breathing. It doesn't matter where you are on your inhalation or your exhalation. In the beginning, it's easier so you're not thinking of too many things, to be inhale and hold the breath. So you create that container, and then you can exhale when you come back up. Over time, maybe inhale lower and exhale back up. What you don't want to do is breathe too fast. Sometimes people are really trying to time the breath with it, but you're just trying to create this pattern of, oh, I've got this cylinder and I can keep it on my inhale or exhale. And so as I do this, I'm not worried about where I am on my inhalation or exhalation. And if you can see, but I'm doing both. And it's hard to see because you're expanding all sides. And so where the breath is going, because it's going everywhere, you don't see like my tummy or my chest or something, or my shoulders go up high or do anything drastic, because the breath is really going everywhere in my torso. When I say breath, of course, well, the diaphragm goes down and the breath does expand out, but the breath then takes the viscera down. So for you to just think about it or imagine that the breath is going anywhere. Yes, I know the lungs are up here. And then, yeah, you can do different things with your feet. Now, if you want to go ahead and take it a little farther, you can so we're doing kind of more up and down this direction, right? But let's say you wanted to go out to the side. So there's a Pilates exercise where we can take our leg down and out and then out to the side. And so when you go out to the side, and you can also just do it here, what's going to happen is the pelvis is going to want to go down this way. Okay, so before when we took a leg down here, our pelvis wanted to go in that direction towards the leg, right? Because the weight is taking it there. Okay, so we need to counter that lever. So this is a little trickier. When we take our leg out to the side, I want to feel like this side of my pelvis is reaching up, as if, remember when I had my foot up there and I was reaching up right here, right? So I'm doing the same thing with my pelvis, even though my leg is going out to the side. And then my back is really nicely supported. It feels super connected and fluid all throughout. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like, yeah, I can feel things working, but it's not a strain. There's no stress. It's like there's this ease through it. It feels good, okay? And anything else you've done, there's all kinds of, you can start to have the legs be straight, but I like to maybe save that until you've really got this, because when we start to straighten the legs, then we use more quads and hip flexors, some more superficial muscles that tend to try to do the work of our more core stabilizers, what should be really supporting not just the core, but like, how the hip is in place and it's nice, centered in the socket kind of thing. When we use those more superficial muscles like our hamstrings and so forth, and quads, they can kind of pull the hip out of alignment. And so this is a nice way of getting that back. So again, the deeper muscles that put it in place are working and putting it in place, right, where it should be. And then those bigger muscles, those bulkier muscles are going to be the movers, right? Then the strength is, again, much more easeful, and there's not the wear and tear on the joints, okay? So that's a good start.